Someone help me. I'm losing my mind. I'm a 30-year-old guy, and there's this 32-year-old woman I've been hanging out with. We first met about 5 years ago, and for the first 2 years, we were just kind of seeing each other without making it super serious. But I really like her a lot. Lately, though, we've been arguing a bit more than usual, and a lot of it is because I've been feeling kind of insecure. So here's a bit more about what's been going on. About a year ago, someone in my family passed away, and it was a really tough time for me. Because I was so upset and not really able to be there for my girlfriend, we decided it might be a good idea to take a little break. We thought it would help me sort out my feelings. We still talked now and then during the break, but nothing too serious because we wanted to make sure we both had some space to think. After a few weeks, we decided to get back together. I kind of had to push for it, but when we did, I found out that she had been a bit flirty with a guy she works with. They even went out a couple of times and got pretty close. She was honest with me and showed me their texts. We tried to work through it, but ever since then, I've been feeling really unsure of things, especially because she still sees this guy at work every single day. Then, just a few days ago, we got into another argument. We had plans, but she canceled on me at the last minute. So, that's what's been going on. So, after she canceled our plans at the last minute, which she does quite often and really gets on my nerves, we ended up talking later. I casually asked her how her day was, and she sent over some pictures. In one of these pictures, I noticed the background of a restaurant. When we caught up later, I asked her who she was hanging out with, but she didn't really give me a straight answer. I got a bit curious and decided to look through her phone messages. I wasn't snooping around for no reason. I just had this feeling, you know? And there it was. A chat with that same coworker she had been a bit too friendly with before. They were talking about having lunch together at this pretty unique restaurant, the same one I saw in the background of the picture she sent. That made me really angry. I asked her straight up if she was with him, and she kept denying it. I was so upset, I just left and went home. The next morning, I found out she had blocked me on all social media and everywhere else. I decided to give it some space, thinking maybe we both needed a bit of time to cool off. But today I got really curious and checked her Facebook using a friend's account. And guess what? It says she's in a relationship. I checked the coworker's account, and it's the same deal. When we were together, she never wanted to make our relationship Facebook official, which didn't really bother me because, hey, it's just Facebook. But now, suddenly, she and this coworker, who was supposedly single, are both showing they're in a relationship. I'm going crazy. I've messaged her friends and everyone she knows who I do, and no one is responding. What do? I can't work. I can't eat or sleep. If she broke up with me, I'd be okay. But she just chose to do it in such a way. I need answers. I need someone to tell me what's going on. I feel like I'm starting to come off as a crazy person. But what am I supposed to do? Now for the top of comments before the update. If you say if she broke up with me, I'd be okay. She did break up with you. She did it in a rude and hurtful way. By ghosting you. Grieve the loss and move on. Once you're happily involved with another, she'll probably reappear to try and haunt your ass again. Don't let her back in, not even as a friend. Because friends don't do that to each other. This is true, to be honest. This sounds like something a teenage girl would do. She is immature and childish. She might have helped you out by acting like this now. Leave her alone. And her friends and family. If anyone decides to text back, tell them to screw off. How do I just cut someone out? I have relied on for support for 5 years before we dated and after. She was the person I confided in the most. I talk to her almost every day. I know you're right, but how do I do this? I'm so restless. How do I just cut someone out? I relied on for support for 5 years, just like she did. She obviously never ended her affair with him. Maybe they started much earlier, and probably much more has happened than you've been told. Yes, he wasted 5 years, but at least you won't waste any more time. Best wishes. Update 1. Just when I thought things couldn't get worse, they did. I decided to lay low, focus on myself, hit the gym, and maybe find a hobby. But as fate would have it, I ran into her. Not just anywhere, but at the very gym I joined to distract myself. Turns out she joined the same gym weeks ago. We locked eyes, and it was like the world stopped. She looked away first, guilt written all over her face. I wanted to walk away, but my legs moved on their own, and next thing I knew, we were talking. She seemed different, almost regretful. She told me she left the coworker, that things got complicated, and she realized she made a mistake. I didn't know what to feel. Angry, happy, betrayed again? Before I could decide, she asked if we could talk over coffee. Against my better judgment, I agreed. The coffee turned into dinner, and dinner turned into us spending the night together. It was like no time had passed, yet everything had changed. The next morning, I woke up to an empty bed and a note. I'm sorry, I needed closure. Please forgive me. That's it. No explanation, no promise of a future, nothing. I was back to square one, feeling like a fool. I tried to reach her, but she was a ghost again. Then, a week later, a mutual friend told me she's moving away with the same coworker. They're giving it another try, in another city. It hit me like a ton of bricks. Now, here I am, trying to piece myself back together, wondering if I ever really knew her at all. And just when I thought I could start moving on, I find out through social media she's engaged. To him. It's a whirlwind of emotions, and I'm stuck in the middle, trying to figure out how to rebuild and move forward. The advice from the comments? It rings truer now more than ever. I need to focus on myself, heal, and maybe someday find someone who truly values me. But man, cutting her out for good? That's going to be the toughest workout of my life. Update 2. Months have passed since the whirlwind of emotions and revelations that left me questioning everything I thought I knew about love, loyalty, and moving on. Life, as it often does, had plans of its own, guiding me through a maze of healing, self-discovery, and eventually towards a path of newfound happiness. The gym, once a place of accidental run-ins and painful memories, became my sanctuary, a place where I found not just physical strength but also clarity and a sense of peace. During this transformative period, I also dove into new hobbies, reigniting my passion for painting and music, forms of expression that I had neglected in the pursuit of a relationship that was never meant to stand the test of time. These activities filled my days and nights, gradually replacing the void left by a love that had proven to be more illusion than reality. It was through these passions that I met Anna. She was vibrant, creative, and shared my love for the arts. Our connection was immediate, rooted in mutual respect and a deep understanding of each other's past struggles and aspirations for the future. Anna was everything I didn't realize I was looking for. She brought light into my life in ways I couldn't have imagined, teaching me that love isn't about holding on to someone at the cost of your own happiness, but rather about finding someone who complements and elevates you. Life with Anna was full of adventures, laughter, and genuine companionship. We supported each other's dreams, celebrated each other's successes, and faced challenges as a united front. My world, once clouded by betrayal and heartache, was now filled with optimism and joy. Then, just as I had found my footing and embraced this new chapter, the past came knocking. She was back, the one who had caused so much turmoil, looking worn and defeated. The coworker, it turned out, had left her, unable to commit to the relationship they had once pursued so fervently. In her solitude and regret, she sought me out, hoping to rekindle what we once had. She came to me one evening, unannounced, her eyes brimming with tears, apologies tumbling from her lips. She spoke of mistakes, of taking me for granted, and of the realization that she had lost the true love of her life. Her words, once capable of stirring my deepest emotions, now fell flat. The pain and betrayal that had once consumed me had been replaced by indifference and a sense of closure. I listened quietly, letting her pour her heart out, seeing in her the person I once thought I could spend my life with. But as she begged for forgiveness and a second chance, I realized how far I had come. The man standing before her was no longer the one she left behind. I had grown, healed, and found love that was genuine and unwavering. With a calmness that surprised even me, I told her about Anna, about the life we had built together, and the future we envisioned. I wished her well, hoping she would find her own path to happiness and healing. As she left, the final chapter of our story closed, leaving no room for doubt or what-ifs. Anna and I continued to build our lives together, embracing each day with gratitude and love. Our relationship was a testament to the idea that sometimes the most profound heartbreaks lead to the most beautiful beginnings. We traveled, adopted a dog, and even started a small business together, blending our artistic talents into a venture that brought us closer. Social media, once a battleground of jealousy and hidden truths, became a canvas of our shared experiences, a testament to the joy that comes from finding someone who truly understands and loves you for who you are. Friends and family often remarked on the change in me, noting the peace and happiness that seemed to radiate from within. The journey from heartbreak to healing, from solitude to love, was not an easy one. It was filled with moments of doubt, anger, and profound sadness. Yet it was also a journey marked by growth, resilience, and the discovery that sometimes the end of one story is just the beginning of another, far more beautiful tale. In the end, life had a way of coming full circle, teaching me that forgiveness isn't just about absolving others of their mistakes, but about freeing yourself from the chains of the past. And love, true love, is about finding someone who doesn't just fill the void left by others, but who transforms your understanding of what it means to be truly happy and fulfilled. As Anna and I look towards the future, we do so with hearts full of love and gratitude, knowing that the best is yet to come. The past, with its lessons and scars, remains a chapter in my life story. Story 2. Update besties. Divorce causing issues in my marriage. Me, 40 female best friend, 38th female, is going through a divorce with her husband. 44 male. We'll call them Alice and Ken. My husband, 37 male. And I have been together for 10 years and have always been close with Ken and Alice. Alice and I have been friends since long before we met either of our partners. My husband and Ken have become good friends over the years, and they hang out, just the two of them semi-frequently. About a month ago, Ken told Alice he wanted a divorce. She told me for the last 6 months they have been having issues. According to her, the problem stemmed from Ken issues with her job. 3 years ago, she accepted a promotion at her company. The promotion required her to travel 3 to 4 months out of the year, and she works a lot, even when she isn't on assignment. He's always been insanely ambitious and successful. I think it's important to know that Ken works full-time as a tradesman. He works out of his shop, metalwork on their property, and stays pretty busy. She makes more than he does, but I wouldn't call her the breadwinner. Alice has a daughter. One female from a previous relationship bio dad isn't in the picture, and Ken has been her dad since she was 4. According to her, Ken has been asking her to either take a position that requires less hours and responsibility or find a new job that doesn't require any travel. She's been telling him she will, but has been putting it off, thinking he'd drop it eventually. This has been going on for a while. She didn't tell me how long exactly. It all came to a head when she extended a business trip while on the trip and forgot about a family vacation that they had planned when she got back. She didn't consult him about extending her business trip before agreeing to it. She apologized. I promised to make it up to him and their daughter. She said she didn't have a choice when it came to extending the business trip. Whether that's true or not, I have no idea. Ken was upset but didn't blow up when she got home, though. His stuff was packed and he'd moved most of his shop and tools into storage. He hadn't told her any of this and was acting like everything was fine till this point. She called me and was crushed. She kept saying I didn't think he'd do it over and over. What was the first sadness on her and quickly became resentment. Anger when Ken made it clear there was no getting back together. Ken and my husband were in contact during this whole ordeal. The husband knew they were having issues but didn't know the extent of it until after Ken left Alice. Ken told my husband that Alice had checked out of the relationship ever since she took the new position. They don't do anything as a family anymore. Alice doesn't make time for them to talk when she travels. I guess he asked her for some nudes and sexy dirty talk a few times and she rejected him but had time to go out with her coworkers. They don't have sex anymore. He had voiced these issues numerous times and she blew him off, according to Ken. Everything became much worse after a particular incident that is hard to even type without cringing. Ken and Alice had been separated for about 3 weeks. Their daughter was bouncing back and forth between Ken's apartment and their old home that Alice was staying in. It was Ken's weekend with their daughter. He brings her back Sunday evenings. Well, Alice went on a bender and literally forgot what day it was. And she was so screwed up, this isn't like her. She thought it was Saturday. It was Sunday. Ken shows up with their daughter and walks in on a shit show. Alice had 2 younger men there. They were drunk and in the hot tub. They weren't in the act, but it was clear what was going on. She started freaking out, calling Ken names, screaming that it wasn't Sunday yet. Ken kept their daughter in his truck, so she didn't see the worst of it. They left. The next day, she had no idea what had happened. She had texted Ken horrible things while she was screwed up. I only saw them because Ken sent my husband screenshots. I won't save word for word what they said, but it was really personal. Shit. Since this Ken is going nuclear, he wants the house. He wants custody. He adopted their daughter long ago. He wants child support. He's taking her to the cleaners, as they say. I know this isn't Alice. She is going through shit. She needs friends right now, and I'm literally all she has. Her own daughter would rather stay with Ken. I'm not going to cut out my best friend over this. The issue, my husband wants me to cut her out. He said some really terrible things about her. He's called her a shitty mother. I know she loves her daughter. He's called her a self-absorbed fucking bitch. He says he doesn't want me getting sucked into her drama and behavior when I insist that she'll turn it around. And she just needs help right now. He shuts it down by saying this is who she really is, and he doesn't know why I would want to associate with people like her. I know a lot of this is just shit that Candace told him, and he's defending his buddy. I'm not excusing her behavior, but I think it's unreasonable for him to want me to cut out my best friend. She asked me to go out with her a few times, and I went once without telling my husband because I knew what he'd say. I just wanted to talk to her in person, after I told him that we would meet up. He went ballistic and repeated that if I don't cut her out or we would have issues to any advice, navigating this would be appreciated. And now for the type of comments before reading the update. Imagine going back to your deadbeat baby daddy. Like, if you're going to make poor choices, at least make a new poorer choices, if only for the novelty people are wired funny. I know men and women who have extracted themselves from super abusive, toxic relationships, gotten together with people who loved and supported them, and then either gone back to their original abusive partner or found someone of the same archetype. I've had women I know tell me I need someone that puts me in my place. I know men that have told me that their safe, healthy relationship was boring, where weird animals addicted to chemicals that our brains produce at it. I made this post on lunch break on mobile now. The responses are overwhelming and eye-opening. I've seen a reoccurring sentiment that I haven't seen anything positive about ours. I reread my posts and realized you're correct, so I'll just say this. It wasn't always this way, and her behavior, drinking excessively, shrugging off family work obsessed, is relatively new. She used to be a good mother. We used to have fun family outings. Her and Ken were happy when she took the promotion. All that changed gradually until this shit show happened. Maybe I'm blinded to her behavior now because I know once upon a time she wasn't this person. I plan on talking to her tonight and having an intervention, and I will let my husband know. Thank you for your responses, the good and the bad. Now for the update. This is not a happy update. Alice and I made plans to get together on Saturday morning. I was going to get us coffee and help her with a few things around her house before she left for a business trip on Monday. My intention was not to tell her that we, her family, and mine are worried about her and we all want to see her happy, but her behavior was worrying us. I was hoping we'd have a heart-to-heart. I was hoping I'd see my friend again. I was hoping she would agree to see a therapist, and I was hoping that she'd take a step in the right direction. None of that happened. She was combative from the second I showed up at her place, almost like she knew what my intentions were before I even said anything. When I told her I was worried about her, she said that she was fine and has just been blowing off steam and having some fun. She said she works hard and can do whatever she wants. Now that Ken has left her, she talked about how ungrateful Ken was over the years for all of her hard work and everything that she'd paid for and done for him. It made me cringe, but I bit my tongue. For the record, Ken is a hardworking guy who didn't need her money. He was the breadwinner when they first got together. She makes quite a bit more than him now. That in no way was he dependent on her. Some of you pointed out it was likely that Alice was cheating on Ken. I asked her and she got extremely defensive. She gave me the whole, "I can't believe you'd even ask me that" attitude. I reminded her about the hot tub incident and the optics of it all. She blew it all off and swore that she'd never cheated. I asked who the guys were. Turns out that they were interns at her company. When I asked how old they were, and she simply said they were legal. The way she said it made me wonder if that's how dirty old men talk about younger women. It was gross whether or not she was cheating before the breakup. I don't know. I don't really know anything about this woman anymore. Here's where things took an unexpected turn. As we chatted, she was packing for her business trip. I asked her where she was going this time, and she said, Dallas. I didn't think anything of it. She's gone to Dallas for business trips dozens of times. What did strike me as odd was that she was packing long pants, sweatshirts, a beanie jackets, hiking boots. It was all fall attire and not what she'd be wearing in Dallas at this time of the year. I don't even think I even saw her pack work clothes. But the weirdest thing, a random Seattle Mariners jersey. She doesn't follow baseball. She never has. I just thought about saying something, but kept my questions to myself. It was all just odd. I felt like she was preoccupied with packing and her daughter coming over soon, so I decided to head out. We hugged and I told her I loved her and want her to be happy. I told her I hope that she considers seeing a therapist when she gets back. She said, I'll think about it. Things did seem to end on a positive tone when I got home. My hubby and I were talking about how things went, and I told her about the clothes she was packing and the random Seattle Mariners jersey. He thought it was odd too, but other than that, it's just being odd. We didn't think anything of it at the time. But then hubby went full internet detective. And guess who lives in Seattle and has a Facebook profile picture of himself at a Mariners game? Her daughter's biological father. My heart sank when I checked the Mariners' schedule. They do have home games next week. I called her immediately and asked her if she was really going to Dallas. She responded, yeah, why? I asked if she was sure she wasn't going to see X's name in Seattle. She got quiet. It was probably a full minute of silence. I told her she had better not lie to me and that I'd find out. She came clean. She said that she had gotten in contact with him right after Ken left her, and they had been talking more and more. She said he was a different man now and has turned his life around. Blah, blah, blah. I didn't talk about her baby daddy in the last post because it wasn't relevant. I just know this man is a piece of shit, a human being. He cheated on her while she was pregnant and kicked her out when she confronted him. He'd slap around, call her terrible names. This fucking guy said he wanted nothing to do with their child as well. I flew to Seattle, picked her up and brought her home. She lived with me for a bit. She met Ken shortly afterwards, and having her daughter within a year of dating, they moved in together. I told her all of that shit she's pulled recently is by far the worst thing that she could do. I told her I was disappointed in her. I couldn't believe she would ever speak to that man after what he did to her and how he treated her. She kept saying it was years ago and that she's changed, and he wants to meet his daughter one day. I started screaming and yelling into the phone so loud I think I blew out my voice. I told her I was done with her. I told her if she gets on that plane to Seattle to not bother contacting me ever again. I hung up on her. She called me back and texted once, but I ignored it. I didn't have the energy for her anymore. I just sat down on the couch crying all night while my husband held me. He didn't rub it in. He didn't give me an attitude. He just let me cry and told me he was sorry. Alice texted me this morning. She said that she was sorry for lying to me, but she's a big girl now and can look after herself. I asked her if she's still going to Seattle. She said yes. I blocked her. It's over. I told Ken everything. He was upset, but not surprised. He said he knew how close Alice and I were, and he was sorry that I lost my friend. I told him how sorry that he had lost his wife. You guys were right. I feel like a fucking idiot. Maybe it's a little selfish of me, but I feel betrayed.